Okay, so how to solve inequalities. So when solving inequalities, we almost just imagine you're solving just a regular equation. So this inequality sign, we're going to treat it as if it's the equal sign. There's only some special properties that we're going to have to respect, and we'll see those while we're doing this. Okay, so first things first, you need to say anytime you take anything across the equal sign, you are changing the sign. Next thing that you would need to realize is that anytime you see something that's being, say, like multiplied, in this case you have this 2x next to each other, right? So this is 2 times some variable. That means that this is one term in itself. So this is one term in itself. These go together. This is going to be one term in itself. This would be one term in itself. And this would be one term in itself. Now the next thing you need to say is it depends on the power of the x that's there to say what is grouped together. So say if I had something like x squared here, just hypothetically, we don't have this here, but say if we had something like x squared here, I can't put this x squared with something of the just the x to the 1 power, because this would be x squared, which is x to the 2 power, right? So that can't go together. But what we have here is 2x here, which is no power here, means always that is to the 1 power, to the first power. Now we also have the 7x here, so this can actually go together. So now the question is, which way do what do we move first? Which way do we go, right? And the statement is any one. You just need to make sure that the terms that are together are on the same side. The terms that are the same are on the same side, okay? It doesn't matter which one. I can decide to move the 2x over to this side, or I can decide to move the 7x to this side. Doesn't matter. I'm going to move the 2x because I see that the 2x is smaller though. But, it doesn't matter which one. So now if I move the 2x over to this side, think whenever we look at it, it's always the sign in front. The sign in front of the number that takes a number. If there's no sign, it's automatically a plus. So now, if I decide to move this 2x over to this side, all I'm doing is swapping the sign. So this is going to be a minus 2x. Minus 2x coming over to here. So if I minus 2x from the 7x here, right? So technically going minus 2x and minus 2x here. If I minus 2x from the 7x over here, 7 minus 2 is going to give me 5. So that would be 5x. Now that 2x is no longer there anymore. Now I would say I already moved the x's over to that side, right? I want both of the x's over there, so I need the numbers on the opposite side. So now I'm going to go about how do I move this 14 over here. So this 14 is a plus 14. The sign in front of it is plus. Therefore, to move it, I have to minus 14. If I minus 14 from this side, right, it's automatically, that gets crossed out. Now, whatever I did on this side, technically I do to that other side. So say if I want to move this to over there, all I'm doing is switching the sign and now doing that over here. So minus 14 to the 3 here, because the 3 is on the same standing as it. It doesn't have an x, and that doesn't have an x. So minus 14 from 3, right? And we have to think kind of like if I owed you what, 14 $14, and I gave you 3 today. How much more do I owe you? And the answer would be minus 11, right? Because I would owe you 11. So now we end up with this. All right. So now with this, automatically here, from now that we're here, we're just going to say what is the number that's in front of the x. Whatever number that's in front of the x, it's saying that this number is being multiplied to x. So we need to do the opposite of that to get that not to be multiplied to x, but to do something else. So this is being multiplied, which is the 5. 5 is being multiplied to x. So for us not to have this 5 being multiplied to x, we're going to have to divide the 5. So you can just look at it as whatever number that's in front of the x, in front of the x there, that number we're gonna divide on both sides. And when we do that on both sides, these fives will cross out. So now I don't have five. I don't have 5 in front of the x anymore. I just have x. And now this is gonna be minus 11 over 5. And this would be the answer for that. Sometimes they even go down. They'll even go and say write this in interval notation. So for that, normally what I would do is I would bring a number line. So the number line is going to be, say, wherever this number starts here. So it will be 11 over 5. Don't even really have to care about where it is right now. And now I'm going to start this on a line, on a number line. And now the statement would be, which way is this arrow right here pointing? But we need to make sure to only take it when the x is on the left side. So we're going to reverse this, literally turning the shape backwards, if you look at it. So we're going to reverse that, and we're going to take wherever that arrow is going. So the arrow is going to the right when the x is on the left side. So this is what it will look like. And because of this equal sign, because it's equal, this is considered, it's read in this way, greater than or equal to, because this line is under it. If there wasn't a line under there, then it will just be greater than. So what you're going to do, because this line is under there, you're going to have to shade in the dot there, saying that this particular point is actually on there. Another way that they write this out is you'll put like a square bracket here. All right, that's another way that they'll write that out. Now that we have the number line, what you're going to do from there is you're going to have to read this number line of where it's going. So it's clearly starting at 11 over 5 or minus 11 over 5. So we write that on one side. Because this is included, which is equal to, you're going to have to use the square bracket that we use there. And now, at the end, you're going to have to say where this is going to. And because this arrow is here, clearly it's going on and on and on. So this is going to infinity. And that would be how you solve inequalities. Remember, there's also another property with the inequality that says if you divide by a negative, you have to switch the signs. So say magically, hypothetically speaking, say this was not like that, but this was like negative x here, right? So if this was negative x here, if this is negative x here, I have to divide what here to get that not to be on that side. I want this to be positive x. So I have to divide -1. And if I divide -1 here, right? If I divide -1 here, the statement is I have to switch this sign. Alright? That would be the statement. If I did that. Now if I do that, the answer would look like this. -11 over 5, right? This sign switches around and that would turn into x. So hypothetically speaking, that's not the same as that one, but this will give you, say, what will happen if you end up having to divide a negative number. If you divide a negative number to get that out of there, then you have to switch the inequality sign.